Have you ever wondered why you feel empty after chasing pleasure? Why the satisfaction fades faster every time you give it? That's not coincidence. That's the trap. Lust pretends to give you life, but every time you surrender, it quietly takes something from you. It steals your energy, your drive, your hunger for greatness. It replaces purpose with poison, one click, one thought, one moment at a time. You think you're in control, but deep down you know it's controlling you. Lust is the silent killer of men, not because it strikes loudly, but because it whispers so softly that you don't even realize you're dying inside. Every man wants to feel strong, confident, and focused. But how can you rise when your mind is chained to constant desire? Lust hides behind pleasure, yet its real aim is weakness. It drains your mental strength until you can't think clearly. It numbs your ambition until your dreams feel too heavy to chase. It tricks your brain into believing you're satisfied when you've accomplished nothing. That's the danger. Dopamine without discipline, reward without effort, pleasure without purpose. Each time you indulge, you teach your mind to settle for less. You feed the part of you that wants comfort instead of growth. And slowly, you stop fighting, you stop dreaming, you stop believing you can be more. Lust doesn't destroy your body, it destroys your will. It eats away at your confidence, your self-respect, your edge. You start feeling tired, distracted, hollow. You wake up with regret and sleep with guilt. The energy that once burned with purpose now fades into apathy. You lose the hunger that built empires, the focus that forged warriors. What's left is a man alive on the outside but dead inside. But here's the truth no one tells you: the power you give to lust is the same power that can build your destiny. That energy isn't evil, it's sacred. When you learn to control it, it transforms into focus, passion, and fire. The same desire that once destroyed you can become your greatest source of strength. You were never meant to be ruled by urges, you were meant to command them. Every second you resist lust, you reclaim your power. Every temptation you overcome, you rise higher. Stay until the end, because what you'll discover isn't just how to escape lust, it's how to become unstoppable. You'll learn how to silence the cravings that once controlled you, how to rebuild your strength, how to rise above the noise of weakness and step into the life you were born to live. Lust might be the silent killer of men, but awareness is the beginning of resurrection. This is your wake-up call. Your power isn't gone, it's just buried beneath distraction. And if you have the courage to face it, you'll find that every ounce of control you lost can be taken back, starting now. You feel it every time. You know you're meant for more, yet something keeps pulling you down. It's that quiet exhaustion, that constant fog that clouds your mind. You tell yourself you're fine, but deep inside, you know something's draining your power. That force is lust. It takes more than your attention. It steals your masculine energy, the fire that makes you driven, focused, and unbreakable. It replaces strength with softness, direction with distraction. You don't even notice it happening because it doesn't attack you all at once. It leaks your energy slowly, drop by drop, until your spirit runs dry. When you lose control to lust, you lose the essence that defines you as a man. Your energy is your currency. Every moment of focus, every surge of discipline, every ounce of ambition, all of it flows from the power within you. But lust burns it faster than anything else. It promises release, but it delivers regret. It gives you seconds of pleasure and days of weakness. Your body feels dull, your mind loses sharpness, and your purpose fades. You start craving comfort instead of challenge, entertainment instead of excellence. The man who was once hungry to win now settles for surviving. It's not just physical, it's psychological. Every indulgence tells your brain that you don't need to fight for fulfillment. It gives you the illusion of success without earning it. Over time, your mind begins to associate satisfaction with surrender. That's how men lose their edge. They stop chasing greatness because they're already tricking their brain into feeling rewarded. It's a cycle that eats ambition alive. The same dopamine that should fuel your success is now wasted on fantasies. You've trained your brain to celebrate nothing. And that's why you feel weaker. That's why motivation fades. Because deep inside, your spirit knows the truth. You've been spending your energy on emptiness. But what happens when you take it back? When you decide that your strength is sacred, that your energy is meant for purpose, not pleasure, everything changes. Your confidence returns, your focus sharpens. You start walking differently, speaking differently, thinking differently. You move with presence because your energy is no longer scattered. The world begins to notice something in you: calm power, quiet control, the aura of a man who owns himself. That's what lust tries to hide from you. It doesn't just steal your time, it steals your power to become. But that power is not gone, it's waiting. It's buried beneath the noise of your impulses, under the weight of guilt and regret. You can bring it back. You can rise again, stronger, clearer, more disciplined than ever before. When you stop wasting your energy on what drains you, you awaken the force that can build empires. The death of lust is the birth of purpose. And the man who learns to control his energy becomes the man the world cannot control. Every man faces a war that no one else can see. It's the silent battle between desire and discipline, between who you are and who you could become. The enemy doesn't wear armor or carry a weapon. It lives inside you. It whispers, persuades, tempts, and waits for your weakness. It tells you to give in, to enjoy the moment, to forget your goals for just one night. But every time you surrender, you lose ground in that war. Every time you give in, you hand over another piece of your strength. And soon, you start believing that you can't win. That's how lust wins. Not by overpowering you, but by convincing you to stop fighting. You were not born weak. You were born with the power to control your mind, to command your thoughts, to direct your energy toward creation instead of destruction. The struggle you feel inside is not proof of failure, it's proof of potential. The fact that it hurts means the warrior in you is still alive. Lust attacks because it knows your energy is powerful. It knows that if you ever learn to master it, nothing could stop you. Every urge is a test, and every test resisted builds your strength. Discipline is not punishment, it's armor. It protects your purpose from being destroyed by momentary pleasure. The battle isn't about denying your nature, it's about mastering it. Lust is energy, raw and powerful, but energy has no direction until you give it one. When you channel that fire into your goals, your work, your growth, it transforms into focus. The same force that once pulled you down becomes the very power that lifts you up. The mind that was once enslaved becomes the weapon of a conqueror. The moment you say no to the urge, you say yes to yourself. You choose progress over pleasure. You choose strength over softness. You choose power over paralysis. Every time you win that war, you feel it. The clarity, the confidence, the stillness. Your thoughts sharpen. Your movements become deliberate. You no longer chase validation. You radiate authority. That is the essence of discipline. The quiet confidence that comes from self-control. The man who controls himself controls everything. The world bends to his focus because he no longer bends to his impulses. That is how warriors are made, not by avoiding struggle, but by mastering it. The war within never truly ends. It's fought every day, every moment in silence. But each victory strengthens you. Each act of control hardens your spirit. You become the kind of man who no longer fears temptation because you've seen what's on the other side of it. Peace, clarity, power. Lust will always try to return, but it will find the door locked and guarded by the version of you that refused to bow. And that version of you is unstoppable. When a man finally decides to take back control, something begins to shift inside him. The chaos starts to quiet. The noise that once ruled his mind begins to fade. What replaces it is clarity, a sharpness that cuts through distraction and weakness. When you stop feeding lust, you stop feeding the part of you that wants to stay small. You awaken the part of you that was meant to rise. The energy that once leaked out of you through indulgence now builds pressure inside your soul. That pressure becomes power. It turns into focus, ambition, and presence. You start seeing the world differently. You no longer feel lost in it. You feel in command of it. There's a moment every man reaches when he realizes that pleasure was never the reward. Discipline is. Discipline gives you back your power. It makes you grounded, dangerous, unshakable. You stop needing external validation because you become your own source of strength. When you master your urges, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, life bends to your direction. You walk with calm intensity. You speak with certainty. People feel your presence because it's no longer scattered across 1,000 distractions. It's centered, focused, whole. This is where real transformation happens. The man who once ran from his impulses now commands them. The same energy that used to control him now fuels his purpose. His mind, once clouded with temptation, becomes a weapon of precision. He works with fire in his chest and peace in his mind. His emotions no longer dictate his actions, his mission does. He becomes disciplined not because he's suppressing desire, but because he's using it. He's no longer chasing the feeling of pleasure, he's chasing the feeling of progress. When you rebuild yourself from discipline, you become unrecognizable. You think deeper, move sharper, and act faster. You stop wasting time wondering if you're good enough. You start proving it every single day. Your habits change because your standards rise. Your energy is no longer spent surviving, it's spent conquering. The same life that once felt meaningless starts to feel alive again because you're no longer numb, you're aware. You see what others can't. You move in silence. You build in darkness. And when you emerge, the world will wonder how you did it. Lust loses its power when you stop giving it attention. What once enslaved you now fears you. The cravings that once pulled you under become fuel for your ascent. You finally understand that control isn't restriction, it's liberation. Every act of discipline is an act of creation. You are building yourself into the man you were meant to be. Focused, driven, and untouchable. The storm that once raged inside you now serves you. You no longer run from it, you command it. And in that silence, you find strength. In that restraint, you find freedom. That is how a man is reborn. The man who conquers himself becomes a force that the world cannot ignore. He moves with purpose because he no longer wastes energy chasing shadows. His strength doesn't come from dominance or aggression. It comes from control. Control over his thoughts, his urges, his reactions. That control is what separates the common from the exceptional. Most men live as prisoners of their impulses, but the disciplined man becomes the architect of his destiny. He understands that the mind is his battlefield and silence is his weapon. While others chase instant gratification, he builds endurance. While they look for comfort, he trains his spirit in discomfort. He is not driven by pleasure, he is driven by principle. Freedom doesn't come from indulgence, it comes from mastery. The man who resists temptation is not deprived, he is powerful. Because every time he says no to weakness, he says yes to strength. Every moment he restrains himself, he adds weight to his character. His confidence doesn't need attention, his worth doesn't need validation. He knows what he is building, even if no one else does. His eyes are fixed on the vision ahead, not the distractions around him. He is no longer a slave to emotion. He is the commander of it. That inner stillness is rare, and it's the reason his presence feels heavy, his energy magnetic. People don't understand why he stands out, but they feel it. The authority of a man who owns himself. This kind of power can't be faked. It's forged through pain, through discipline, through years of choosing strength over surrender. It's earned in the moments when no one is watching. It's built in silence, in sacrifice, in solitude. The disciplined man doesn't fight to impress the world, he fights to honor himself. And that is why he wins. He is not distracted by trends or opinions, his focus is locked on purpose. He doesn't chase success to prove something, he chases growth because becoming stronger is his nature. Lust, greed, fear. They lose their grip because he's learned to master the only thing they ever controlled, his mind. A man like this becomes unshakable. His peace cannot be stolen because it's not built on pleasure, it's built on power. His happiness isn't dependent on what he consumes, but on what he creates. He walks into every room knowing he could destroy his life with one wrong choice, and that awareness keeps him humble. His discipline becomes his protection. His restraint becomes his advantage. He doesn't need to be loud because his presence speaks for him. He doesn't need to prove power because power radiates from him. The world needs men like this, men who are awake, disciplined, and in control. Because when a man masters his desires, he becomes a pillar of stability in a world of chaos. And from that foundation, he rises not as a follower of lust, but as a leader of purpose. That is true freedom. That is true strength. The strongest man is the one who no longer needs to prove his strength. He carries it quietly, like a fire burning behind calm eyes. He doesn't speak of control, he embodies it. The man who has defeated his lust walks differently. His energy feels grounded, centered, alive. He has faced the chaos within and turned it into order. While others are lost chasing sensations, he chases mastery. While the world is addicted to noise, he moves in silence. That silence isn't emptiness, it's power contained. It's the sound of a man who has learned to rule himself. The storms that once shook him now pass through him, unable to break what discipline has built. There's a kind of strength that no one can teach. It's earned by the man who has fought his own darkness and refused to surrender. That man becomes dangerous, not because he seeks conflict, but because he fears none. His calmness is not weakness, it's control. His silence is not absence, it's awareness. He no longer reacts to the world, he responds with purpose. Every decision he makes is intentional, every move calculated. The same fire that once burned recklessly inside him now fuels his ambition, his focus, his vision. He has turned temptation into drive, distraction into clarity, weakness into wisdom. The man who conquers lust doesn't just gain discipline, he gains identity. He remembers who he truly is. He reconnects with his strength, his dignity, his divine purpose. He no longer needs validation from the world because he's found peace within himself. And that peace radiates outward, shaping everything he touches. People sense it in his presence, in his tone, in the way he moves through life without fear. He becomes a symbol of what real power looks like. Control, humble and sharp. Nothing owns him because he has already mastered himself. The world will tempt him again. Lust will whisper, trying to pull him back into the shadows. But now he sees it for what it is. A thief dressed as pleasure. He recognizes the cost before the craving. He remembers what it took to rise, and he refuses to go back. The disciplined man no longer fights to escape temptation. He rises above it. He understands that true victory isn't avoiding the battle. It's outgrowing the need for it. That's where freedom begins. When your mind no longer craves escape, you start living with purpose. Let others chase comfort. Let them drown in distraction. You are not one of them. You are built for something higher. You are built for greatness that demands control. Lust may be the silent killer of men, but you have become the exception. You have turned silence into strength, control into freedom, focus into fire. The world will forget the weak, but it will remember the discipline. And the man who conquers himself will never die unnoticed.